Tehran is falling. American F-22s just swept the sky, but when 200 drones appear, the world's best stealth fighter is suddenly paralyzed. It can't talk to its own wingmen. The US won the battle in Iran, but the Pentagon is in a cold sweat. Against China, this same scenario is a total massacre. That's why the $300 million F-47 was just fast-tracked. It's the only jet on Earth built to win the Pacific before the first shot is even fired. Operation Epic Fury looked like a masterpiece. Within 72 hours, F-22 Raptors deleted every Iranian MiG-29 with a zero-loss record. And F-35 scored its first ever manned air-to-air kill. B-2 Spirits cracked open mountain bunkers. Tehran spent billions hiding. Total domination on paper. Then Iran flipped the switch. 200 drones flooded the sky while high-powered jammers turned every cockpit screen into static. Suddenly, the most expensive stealth fighters on Earth were flying blind. The F-22, king of the dogfight, has a 1990s-era brain. It literally cannot command the drone wingmen needed to survive a saturated battlefield. A $150 million jet that can't talk to its own reinforcements. It got worse. F-35 pilots reported their mental workload hit the breaking point, manually managing sensors across 12 jammed frequencies while flying combat missions. America just won a war against a middle-tier power, and the victory nearly broke the fleet. Here's the ugly truth the Pentagon doesn't want you to hear. The only reason the US cracked Iran's defenses was Israel. Israeli ground coordination and short-range support plugged the gaps the Air Force couldn't fill alone. Against China, that shield vanishes. American pilots would be stepping into a 5,000-mile-wide meat grinder, with jets that can't even talk to their own drones. But what happened next shocked even the Pentagon. Because while the US was analyzing the wreckage, China was already testing a countermove that makes the F-22 look like a museum piece. The Pentagon isn't building a faster jet, they're building the reason China's entire air defense network becomes obsolete overnight. Enter the Boeing F-47 Phoenix, the world's first 6th-generation air superiority fighter, and a $300 million titanium beast designed to do what the F-22 just proved it can't. Remember that F-35 pilot in Iran, nearly drowning in 12 sensor feeds while enemy jamming, turned his cockpit into static? The F-47 kills that problem at the root. Its AI brain processes millions of data points every second, which means the pilot stops being a driver dodging threats and becomes a fleet commander sending threats. 1 human, 5 killer drones, total battlefield awareness. That's not an upgrade. That's a different species of warfare. Here's what that looks like for the enemy. Those 5 autonomous drone wingmen, they fly miles ahead into the meat grinder so the pilot never has to. They soak up every radar signal China throws at them, map every surface-to-air missile site, and then the F-47 launches stand-in attack missiles from 100 miles away. The enemy never even sees the manned jet. They just see their air defenses exploding one by one, fired on by drones they can't jam, and missiles they can't outrun. Where the F-22 couldn't even talk to modern drones over Iran, the F-47 treats its swarm like 5 extra missile magazines on a jam-proof leash. But the part that sounds like science fiction? The F-47 doesn't dodge incoming missiles. It deletes them. Its directed energy lasers melt the guidance sensors off enemy missiles at the speed of light. Not flares, not countermeasures. A beam of light that says, your missile is blind now. And the power to fire that laser over and over comes from adaptive cycle engines that turn the entire jet into a flying power plant. Try to shoot it down with infrared trackers? Good luck. Its broadband stealth coating drops the heat signature to near zero. Even China's J-20 thermal sensors would be staring at empty sky. The Air Force is fast-tracking 185 of these to replace the F-22 fleet. Jets that are literally cracking at the seams from age. With a combat radius over 1,000 nautical miles and speeds past Mach 2.5, the Phoenix can punch through the most defended airspace on Earth, strike, and vanish before the enemy's response cycle even boots up. But here's where it gets insane. Because while the US was perfecting the F-47's quarterback AI, China wasn't watching from the sidelines. They were already engineering a specialized interceptor built to do the one thing the Pentagon assumed was impossible. If Iran's decades-old defenses caused a successful disaster, then a clash with China is a total math-defying nightmare. In the Iran conflict, American pilots dealt with hundreds of drones. Against China, they are facing a wall of steel, consisting of over 3,000 ground-launched cruise missiles and a primary interceptor fleet armed with the PL-15, a radar-guided